Does it live up to the hype? No. But yeah, the beginning, it's like, so he works at a video game company as a designer, and they want him to make a sequel to The Matrix, which in this
The game
is a game that was the first three movies. It was a game franchise. So basically in this movie, each Matrix movie exists as a video game. But it looks just like the Matrix movies. And I said the other day to Liz, like, I just want to see another game in this universe, because are they all photo real? Because they're like, this is your game. And I was like, fuck off, man. Come on. So like in the beginning, they want him to make the game. There's like a montage kind of where like, it just kind of made it seem like game dev is hell. But yeah, that first act sequence was pretty bad. He apparently like wrote code within his game
that was Matrix code
to recreate Morpheus so that someone would find it, take Morpheus out of it, and then find him to rescue him from the Matrix. Right? Is that like, is that how that played out? Act 2 is better than Act 1?
Question mark.
Yeah, in Act 2 they go to the free human city, which instead of Zion is something called Io, where they're now kind of working with machines to better their lives, to make like actual food and stuff. They're doing like crops, which is like a plot point for some reason. I think just so someone could be like, we don't give a shit about strawberries, we want to save humans.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason that they show that, just so they can have that line in there. They decide that they need to rescue Trinity, or Neo does, and then like Jada Pinkett Smith is back, but also now it's like 60 years after the first Matrix, so she's like 90 something years old.
They do this aging up thing to everybody, which is really ugly.
Yeah.
People should stick to aging down, because you have old footage and at least photos of like these people in the past, and you can make it. The aging up has never looked good on anybody.
Yeah, you're right. And then his therapist in the Matrix is the guy that actually runs it.
Yeah.
And tells him that they're going to kill Trinity if he doesn't go back. They're in these like 2 megapods, right? That they like take all this energy from, and them being that close to each other in IRL and in the Matrix makes them just like output so much more power. So he says if Neo doesn't go back, they're going to kill Trinity. So then obviously go to rescue Trinity. But like Act 2 includes like a failed attempt to make contact with her. Or no, does he actually talk to her? And then like the Merovingian comes back.
He talks to her in Act 1.
No, I know he talks to her in Act 1. I mean like to talk to her about like making the decision to leave the Matrix, which she has to do in order for them to rescue her. But yeah, the Merovingian comes back.
Yep.
Another cameo, and he just like babbles about random shit while looking like a homeless macaque. He has that like hair. He looks like Hit Monkey from Hulu, which is a macaque. He has that like hair and like beard and just vibe.
Did anybody love The Matrix 2 and 3, by the way?
Like in general?
Yeah.
I think no. I mean, like people talk about 2 now, about like, oh yeah, 2 is pretty good, but 3 is kind of bad.
Everybody hated 2 back then.
Yeah, no, they
Except
did.
for the one car chase scene, which was insane and like really well done. But like,
yeah. When Morpheus like slices that fucking truck with a samurai sword, like that's sick.
Yeah, but those movies weren't enjoyable. Like,
it's because they're so convoluted and full of like random nonsense. Like the scene, I think in 2 is the scene where the architect is like, yeah, whatever you do, this is going to happen again, which I think is part of I'm surprised, really fucking surprised that clip wasn't in this movie, because one of the things they loved to do was be like, hey, remember the Matrix? Here's all the scenes that you need to see from the Matrix, which I don't blame them, because people have very short attention spans. I forgot to even mention that like Agent Smith is like his business partner, but also what the fuck? Like, how long has that been the case? Did he just inhabit this guy this week?
Right.
Does he not know who he is? Is he playing the long game? So many questions. Right. How long has Neo been in this version of the Matrix? Is Smith been Smith this entire time? I thought about that after. I was like, that makes no fucking sense. To continue with the plot, then obviously in Act 3, they make an attempt to rescue Trinity, which is kind of like weirdly convoluted and but also sort of makes sense. Remember when they rescued Neo, I was like, he would be in a fucking fortress. Like, because in the first one, they didn't know what he was or who he was. Like, it makes sense. They could just be like, oh yeah, let's just go get this guy. Because like, I mean, they do kind of explain that later, that like he's in a special facility that like the robots that help rescue him lose access to. If these two people are like breaking records for like productivity or whatever, you would kind of have them under guard at like all times.
Yeah.
Getting him out would be near impossible. Especially fucking, come on, man. Neo, like the dude that like broke the Matrix in the first place.
Yeah. No
way. But then the movie dies on that, you know, like that's the question of like, how do we make it so like he can even be rescued? You can't, unless there's like an all out war, you kind of can't. And then they can't win that, which has been established in the past. And in this too, they say their city's hidden because like they're never going to beat the machines. Yeah, I got a lot to say about this. Probably more than I expected. And a lot of it's more negative than I expected too. But like I said, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, dude, I don't know.
Yeah, before this, you said who gave it a 4 out of 10?
IGN.
IGN gave it a 4 out of 10. I said, that's about right. Maybe a touch high. And you were above that, and now you're talking yourself down big time.
Yeah, because I saw that review before I watched the movie, and I almost texted my wife, like, oh, I think this is another Jupiter Ascending. Have you seen that?
No.
It's like laughably bad. It's one of those. Okay. It's a Wachowski movie too, and it's like so bad it's funny. Because IGN said this movie is laughably bad, which I don't think is really the case.
The beginning is. The beginning is.
I think the ending might be too. Actually, the third act turns into a fucking zombie movie. By the way, like a weird like.
Just the waves.
Yeah, it's like waves of mindless enemies. There's literally a scene where they start
twice today.
There's literally a scene where they start turning people that end up throwing themselves out of skyscraper windows.
That was amazing. It was so stupid. It was amazing.
That whole third act when they're on the motorcycle looked fucking bad too. When it hits the car, when he like also you know how in the old Matrix, Neo's like a great fighter? Well, in this, he's basically Sue Storm. He's like, I have fucking blocking power. I'm gonna shield us and use like telekinesis. I'm telekinesis man now. He can like, he has the force, essentially. He can force push shit and he can block stuff from happening. And that's pretty much all he does. Even though we know Keanu Reeves can fight. He fights a little bit, which is cool, but it's not enough.
Right.
It's not enough. And his fight scene with Smith in the second act is just disappointing.
Whack.
Did I fucking hate this movie? Oh my God. I thought I liked it. I thought I liked it more than, I'm like, I like this more than most people. Now I'm like, this was all bad. I mean, there's definitely stuff here that could have made a good, like the premise of it could have worked, I think. Even though it's way too meta. Mm-hmm. I think if they handled the way the first act played with him being a game dev, like, I don't know, that's kind of a fun idea, like him making games and shit as like a way for them to say, yeah, you have these memories because you wrote this for a game. Because that's like an interesting way for them to control. And the therapist it's a good idea for them to control like how he feels in this. Like I said, the Smith being tied to him, the Trinity, him and her needing each other, that all makes sense and is good. But the way the whole thing unfolds, I don't know.
What I'm hoping is the barrage of beatdown on this movie in the media will stop anybody from making another sequel, because it's going to do okay as far as streams go, like streaming stats go, and as far as movie theater stats go, because it's new content. It's an established name. Those things always work. it's during a holiday when some people were still staying home, so they had plenty of time to just chill and watch it. I really hope they don't make another one.